Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it's Wednesday. Let's create. This evening, we're going to be creating a slide pocket card, and we're going to be using the celebratory SIPS designer series paper as well as the Cheers and Sips stamp set for this particular card. And it's a fun little take on a pocket card. And last night, during our 30-minute card making stash dash, we had to make a pocket card. And I thought, you know what, there are so many different kinds of pocket cards. And I thought that this one would be fun because it's actually got two pockets. And that is super cool. So we're going to start out with a piece of the designer series paper. And this one has a lovely green textured pattern on the back and a beautiful floral. On the front, this piece has been cut to 4 inches by 12 inches. And we're going to do a little bit of a trim on it as well as some scoring. So I'm just bringing in my, my paper trimmer. And so along this 12-inch side, we're going to quickly just take off an 1.5 inches. And because we've got this little ruler that comes out here, we can actually just line it up with that edge right there, and that will give us an 1.5 inches, or we can line it up with 11.5 on this end. That will also work. And then we can just go ahead and trim that off. So we're taking off an 1.5 inches along this 12-inch side, and we're going to save that. We're using that later. That's why we're doing this now, so that you can see the process of where we got that piece of paper from. And then along this 12-inch side, we're going to do some scoring. So I'm going to move my cutting blade out of the way, and I'm going to use my score blade here, and we are going to score at 1 inch. Right at the, we're kind of working from the bottom up, I guess. So we're going to go over here to 1 inch like that. And then we're also going to score it at 5.25. So now I'm going to turn it the other way. I could have started scoring this way. So let's pretend we scored it at 1 inch, and now we're going to move it to 5.25. Just double checking my measurements. So 5.25. Oops, I pushed a little too hard there. You have to be careful when you're scoring designer series paper because it's not the same as scoring on cardstock. And if you get a little aggressive, then you can actually cut through your paper, which I got a little bit aggressive there, but it's okay. It's going to work. Okay, now with our score lines here, I just realized I have actually scored it from the wrong end. You know, this is what happens. Let's try again. We've got our 4-inch. It matters when there's a directional paper. I was just about to talk about how on a directional piece of paper, it makes a difference which way you score it. And of course, that's what we've got here. So we're going to get a secondary sample of this. Okay, so we're going to cut off our 1.5 inch piece from the bottom. And don't worry, I will actually use that other piece. Well, that's not an 1.5 inches. That's 2.5 inches. Boy, oh boy, gotta love it. I'm doing my video a little bit early. This is pre-recorded, but I'll be following along. Okay, so we're going to do our scoring, and I want to start at this end. Because this is directional, I'm going to start my scoring at the top end, okay? So we're going to score at 1 inch. If you're not using a directional paper, it doesn't matter. So 1 inch, and we'll be a little more gentle with it too. And then we're going to score at 5.25. You know a project's going well when you've already had two mishaps before you even get going. That's why we always have extra card stock and extra pattern paper on hand, right? Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to fold this first 1 inch score line towards the front, which is going to help us see that beautiful green in behind. And we're just going to crease that down. Then we're going to fold on this second score line. We're going to create a mountain fold, which means we fold that other end back so it's folded in on itself. So I'll show you. We have a valley fold at the 1 inch and a mountain fold here. And so we're already, as you can see, creating a pocket-like piece. All right. Now, before we go any further with this, we want to do a little bit of zhuzhing on this. I know, zhuzhing already. But it's going to be fun. You'll see. It'll be good. We're going to add our ribbon right now, which seems really early in the project to be adding something that's decorative, but trust me, this is the time you want to do it. So let me just get a piece of this gold ribbon, and it's nice, skinny little ribbon. And we're going to turn over our piece all the way to the other side. And on this 1 inch panel here that we turned back, I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive because that's going to help us keep our ribbon in place. And I know I don't usually like to twist everything this way and that way and this way and that way when we're creating a project because it adds to confusion. But if I stick it back the way it was, okay, so we've taken this piece, we've opened it up, and we've added adhesive on the back. In fact, I can just keep it the way it is like that to make life easier for everybody. Okay, then we're going to take our piece of ribbon, and we're going to have a short side and a long side because we're going to tie our little bow a little bit off center. We're going to stick this down into the adhesive in hopefully a straight line going across there. I didn't even measure how much ribbon this is because we're just going to guess. But I would say maybe 15 inches. We might not need it all, though. We're going to end up trimming some off. So we've just got that going across in a straight line. And now I'm going to open this up because I don't want it to stick down just yet. So that was the reason why I was flipping it this way and that way before. So now this little part of this panel is going to be showing on the front side of our card. So we want to bring our two sides in together. And we're just going to make a nice little knot right there, just a single knot. And then we can come in with our tweezers. If you have the kind of tweezers that holds things without you holding them, that is perfect for helping you tie both. Thank you, Allison Mayo, for that lovely bit of information. And then we can come in and make our bow. Now, this particular ribbon, this gold ribbon, has a solid gold side, and then it has a side that has like a whitish strip down the center. And I like the gold side. So I'm going to turn my little ribbons so that the gold side is on the outside of the loops. And then we're going to tie our bow, which I'm not great at because my fingers don't always cooperate. That's where that little tweezers comes in handy. And we'll see if we've got ourselves going the right direction. If only everything would cooperate. All right, and then we can kind of play around with it. Yeah, I think I've gone the wrong direction. Okay, so let's try this again. You always gotta just have a little play with it to make sure everything's going the right way. That's why it's good that ribbon is a bit forgiving, right? All right, let's try this again. We're doing pretty good, I think. There's always that moment when you realize, okay, it's going well or it's not going well. Nope. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to wrap the other way. No matter how many times you try tying a bow, there's always that moment of this is not working the right way, because bows always want to flip one way or the other. And as much as I try to figure out which way that way is, it never seems to be the same way twice in my brain. Have you ever had that feeling? Like it's just never the right way? in your brain. Now, the easiest way to do this, to be honest, is to put your, oh, we flipped somehow. Oh, okay, we're gonna do it the easy way. The easiest way is to wrap your ribbon around, stick it down, and then tie a bow and stick it on after. And I sometimes do that, but sometimes I try to be fancy. And it worked earlier, and I'll show you what I did earlier. But this evening, it's just not working, and it's probably because I'm feeling like I need to rush, because I'm waiting for my husband to get home so that I can take my son somewhere. And so I'm having this feeling of, oh, I need to hurry so that I'm done by the time he gets home. Which is why we're pre-recording. We're going to add our adhesive here, and that's going to help hold everything down and cover up all the sticky stuff that's happening already. And then we're just going to take this bow leisurely in our hands, and we're going to tie a bow. And when you do the bow separately like this, if it behaves, it's easier, because if it's the wrong way around, you just turn it around. Do you know what I'm saying? You just put it down the way it should be going. That ribbon twisted itself, and you can untwist it much easier, like that. And you can make the perfect little pretty bow, and then just add it on, right? Just easy peasy. So that's what we're gonna do for this one. And we're just gonna trim and trim, and look at that, a pretty bow. No fuss. No fuss. We'll bring in our little glue dots. Okay, so now we can take the backings off of here, and we can stick this panel down. Oops. We're going to try anyway. You shouldn't rush when you're crafting. I just got to say that. You should just do it with some ease. All right. Now we're going to bring in some liquid glue. I've got my glue dots over here. I've got all sorts of things happening. And I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to glue this little pocket that we're creating really close to the edge. I want to give myself maximum pocket width. And to do that, liquid glue is your friend. So let me just set that there. We've got all sorts of things. We're going to use that later. And then we're just going to close our pocket. Easy peasy. Like so. We've got the rest of our bow over here. It's all good. And now we're going to bring in the base for our card. And it's been cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to add some adhesive on the back of our little pocket that we've created. So this is going to be just a flat base. There's no fold. There's no creasing. It's just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, flat piece of cardstock. And we're going to take our adhesive backings off and center this onto that card base. I love the Blackberry Bliss color that we're using here. I think it looks so pretty with this old olive and all these lovely colors. It's a really nice contrast color with that green. Okay, now we're going to add our little bow. Let's do that now, and then we can put our glue dots away. So the easiest way to do that is to find a glue dot, pick it up with the knot of your bow, and then you can just go ahead and stick that little bow on there. I should have done it that way from the start, but I tried to be fancy. Look where it got me. Okay, so that is the basis for our card, and then we're going to add a little bit of zhuzhing, and we need something to go in our pocket. So into our pocket, we're going to take a piece of white willow, and we have cut this to 3 inches by 4 3/4. And you do remember that piece that we cut off, that 1/2 inch piece, sorry, 1 1/2 inch piece. And we need to trim this down so it fits our piece of cardstock. So we need 3 inches. Let's grab that trimmer. We need 3 inches go. And again, we're going to be creating a little pocket here. So I'm going to go onto the back side of this, and we're going to do the sides nice and close to the edge. Because remember I said this is 2 pockets in one. So a pocket within a pocket. So we're going to do the sides, the bottom, the other side. We're going to lift it up and attach it here at the bottom. Just like that. Line it up pretty. And then we're going to turn this over. And we're going to do some stamping on here. And from our Cheers and Sips stamp set, we're going to use the Cheers, It's Your Day. And I want to use the Old Olive ink for that. I've got my stamps loaded up on my blocks. I've got my Old Olive, and I want to stamp it pretty close to the top. So I've got Cheers, It's Your Day. We're going to ink that up. Make sure we've got nice ink coverage. I'm going to come closer to myself, and we're going to line this up centered from side to side. Cheers, it's your day. Lovely. Well, we've got our ink out. Let's do another little bit of stamping. I have from the Stylish Shapes dies. Let me just grab those. Oh, they're not there. I had them. They're not there. Okay, it's got all the little circles. So I have cut the smallest little circle. It's got a nice little dotted edge. And from the same stamp set, we have this little 2U. And, whoops, we're going to stamp that again in the Old Olive, just in the center of that little circle. Okay, let's put our ink away before we stick our elbow in it. Nobody wants that. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to bring in a second piece of Blackberry Bliss, and this has been cut to 3 1/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to add this right. What did I do? What did I do? I put the piece of paper in the wrong spot. This is why we have 2 now. Wow. So if you're watching along and creating with me, this is the time where you say, huh? She has no idea what's happening this evening. So we've put our pocket on the wrong piece of paper, but thank goodness we cut 2 of them. We're going to center this on our Blackberry Bliss, and we're going to grab our other piece of 1 1/2 inch, and we're going to apply it to here. So this was 3 1/4. I wondered, because I thought it was 3 1/4, and then when I was checking, it was 3 inches. And I should have clued in there that that was the indication I was putting it in the wrong spot. You know, there are signs. You know, people ask for a sign. There are signs that what you're doing is a little bit off when the measurements don't match up. All right, so we've already practiced this pocket. Make sure we've got our direction going the right way. We're going to apply this to the Blackberry Bliss as opposed to the white. Boy, oh boy. It's not like I haven't made this card. I'll show you. I'll show you the one I did a better job on. All right, so now we've got it in the right spot. Oh, okay. So we're going to take this, and this card is going to tuck down into our pocket, but we're going to leave it for just a second because you remember that little circle that we die cut out, we stamped. We're going to stick this on the front just like a little gift tag. Add some adhesive. Oops. And we're going to tuck it right under our bow, just like a little gift tag to you. Now this piece, our little pocket on the back, you want to know why we have a little pocket on the back? Because this is a good way to send a little gift card to somebody or tuck some cash in there. That's why we haven't done any other embellishing. And then we've got our nice spot here to write our message, and that tucks in our larger pocket, and our nice little sentiment is still popped up there. I suppose I could center it ish. There we go. And then the last thing we need to do is to add a little bit of bling. And I thought that these nice little pearls, the antique pearls that came out with the Storybook collection, would look nice and pretty on there with all the other things that we've got going on. And so let's grab one of the larger ones. We're going to stick one down here and then a smaller one. We'll stick that there, just kind of tucked under the bow. And then one more, if I can grab it. And we'll stick it up here on our little insert, and there we go. We've got our slide in pocket card. So we've created 2 pockets on this. We started with our designer series paper. We did some folding. We added in our ribbon. Oh, that was a struggle, wasn't it? And then we've got our nice little 2U cut out there with the stylish shapes dies. Then we have our insert where we can write our lovely message. Cheers, it's your day. We've got our little gift card pocket on the back, and it all tucks in together, a nice little presentation. Now, if you do need more space to write a message, you do, of course, have the back, and you could add a panel on there if you wanted to. So, and I'll show you the one I made earlier that I actually tied the bow on. Look at that. It worked. I actually kind of like this one better, but it did work when I tied it earlier. Yeah, just you never know with video, right? So there we go. I hope you enjoyed seeing that come together. If you decide to create a card like this, be sure to snap a photo of it, pop it in the comments where I post a picture of my card, and then we can all see and be inspired by your artwork as well. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you again soon. Don't forget, tomorrow we start our crop for the month of June. Showtime, jazz hands. It's all about the Broadway musicals. All right, have a wonderful evening. Toodaloo. Bye.